Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Couch Coaching. I'm Vincent. This is Jimmy. And today we're going to talk about the Texans and their 2012 season and the final quarter of the season. And look, the Texans, look, number one, first off, let's just give them kudos for winning 11 games for the first time in their history. And, you know, they've had a great season. I don't even know, I almost want to say an excellent season because, you know, outside of Green Bay, they found a way to win every other game. And, you know, they just, at the beginning of the season, they were manhandling everybody except for Green Bay. But they just have, but after the bye week, they were having a tough time with each one of their opponents. But again, they found a way. They had 2 back-to-back overtime games, which they found a way to beat Jacksonville and found a way to beat Detroit because of, the head coach challenging a play when he shouldn't have challenged the play. Funny part about it is, and I'm trying to remember, is it Schwartz?
Yeah.
Funny part about it is that last year Schwartz had gotten into it with Jim Harbaugh and was trying to tell him, know the rules. Well, that same little thing, Karma is a mother. So Karma came back and bit him in the butt, and he challenged the scoring play, which the running back was down.
But see, that's the whole deal from last season to this season. Because I remember me and you having this discussion.
Yeah.
That when it comes down to it, there was going to be a play and a time where that thing was going to be, done like that, where they're going to forget that let them run.
Yeah.
It's automatically going to be reviewed upstairs.
And that's exactly what he did, because he threw the challenge flag before he had even scored. So because the challenge flag was on the field and then he scored, it was a delay of game penalty or something like that, an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty, I think is what they called it. So because of that, they couldn't review the play.
Right. Which
he was down, and everybody knew he was down, but you got to let the play run itself out. And that play ended up costing the game.
Yeah. But I will say this, because I'm not a diehard Texans fan by any means. I'm not. I respect them for what they've done for their franchise and everything else, but I'm not a diehard deal. What's going to be their downfall, though, and I've said this to everybody, and you can go look back at since the Green Bay game, it's a copycat league.
Yep.
If you come up with a team that has a decent run game, had Detroit had a decent run game, that game would have been different no matter if he'd challenged that one play or not. If you spread that defense out and you actually throw the ball, the secondary is lax. Yep. I mean, I don't know if Wade Phillips is trying to do something with it, because I guarantee Wade Phillips knows. I mean, Green Bay exported it. Green Bay has a decent run game now with Max, and they have 5 wide receivers at all times, and there was people running wide open down the field. I mean, and this week coming up, and which we'll get into in a sec, is against New England.
Yep.
And
at New England.
So everyone knows that Tom Brady is like the cousin of God or something. I mean, when it comes down to it, this undrafted kind of person who went in the 6th round. He was drafted, but I mean, he went unnoticed from everybody up until the 6th round. Ends up just becoming this phenomenal player.
All right.
And I mean, you've got wide receivers, and even if you don't think you have wide receivers, Tom Brady has wide receivers.
Right.
So I mean, and he's got a decent running game with his kid, right? Ridley, is that his last name?
Stephen Ridley. Yes, sir.
So I mean, this is going to be the test right here.
Well, the thing about it is, just like we said, it's a copycat league, and the thing about it is that what worries me right now with the Texans, and again, they have time to still fix it, but what worries me about the Texans, and we just go back to that Jacksonville game. Jacksonville put up a lot of points on them. Mm-hmm. A lot of points. Detroit put up a lot of points. Now, you expect Detroit to put a lot of points because of the way they run their offense.
Right.
Tennessee.
That's how they did it.
And how they did
it. That's the deal.
New England can do that. Yeah, and New England can do that.
But, I mean, that's the deal. How did they do it? They didn't pound the ball.
No.
They didn't run between the tackles.
Spread them out.
They spread them out and passed. I think Stanford had 500 and some yards 400-something yards passing in that game.
Yeah, Mike Stafford.
Yeah. And then I think Chad Hitting had close to 400 in that game. I mean, these are passing yards, not rushing. So, I mean, if you're able to do that and you have a good run game behind you and you're spreading out that deep, because I understand everybody's like, oh, J.J. Watt's having a phenomenal year.
And he is. He's
having
a beast.
A great year.
He's a beast.
I mean, he's having a great year, but if you look at all the plays that he's in there in, they're all close. I mean, they don't have anybody spread. The linebackers are right behind him.
Right.
He's right there playing on the line, so he's able to get penetration, bat balls down. But watch, when they spread them out, and he doesn't have that linebacker behind him to where someone's got to see if they got to pick him up or someone else or double team Watt, they're double teaming Watt.
Right.
And there's a lot of times Watt's still getting to the play.
Right.
But he's not becoming that. He's not becoming that name that everybody wants. He's swatting down balls because he can't get there like he wants to because he's getting double teamed.
The problem with the Texans, and again, I don't know. It's two problems here with the Texans right now in this quarter season. Problem number one is that they're playing New England, and I don't know. And that you and I have both been going back and forth on what the Texans are going to try to do in this Monday night matchup against New England, because you don't want to show New England too much because you know you're going to see them some kind of way. If everything meets up the way you want to, you'll probably be seeing them in the AFC Championship game. So this is a team that you don't want to show them too much. But having said that, them feisty Colts are right on their tail. You know, the Colts are 8-4 right now, and they have to play the Colts twice in this last quarter of the season.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what's going to happen in this New England game. But because, I'm going to say this, because it's a Monday night game, because, you know, I think they have enough defensively. Now, I think Jonathan Joseph will be able to play because he didn't play last week. I think Jonathan Joseph will be able to play. The thing, even though New England passed the ball all around the place, and Wes Welker is one of the best slot receivers you'll ever see, and Hernandez is a great tight end. The problem is that they don't have the Gronk. And I think without Gronkowski there, it's going to be a big problem for them.
The deal is I don't even think, because I was thinking about that today as well, I don't think that's going to be the issue.
Yeah.
I don't, because, I mean, you still got Wes Welker. You still got Hernandez.
Right.
You still got Ridley coming out the backfield.
You still got Brandon Lloyd. You still have everybody else except for Gronkowski.
Right. So, I mean, with all of those weapons, I mean, you're going to have to play man on most of them.
Well, see, that's the thing about the Texans and why they get in trouble sometimes with the big play is because mostly they play man.
So here it is. Wes Welker, like you said, is one of the best slot receivers that you have out there.
Right.
Hernandez can beat you as a tight end because he reminds you a lot of Vernon Davis.
Right.
So if you had to pick one to double team, if you had to pick one to shadow, which one would you pick? Because
exactly.
You can't
shadow both of them, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
I mean, because now you're tying up 4 people on 2 people.
Right.
I mean, but that's the deal, is that because Wes Welker does have hands. I mean,
right.
I've only seen this man drop a couple of balls that it would be impossible for anybody to catch.
He dropped one in the Super Bowl.
It was impossible to catch.
Just
if you do that,
not according to Tom Brady's wife. Just joking. Just joking. Giselle, just be pretty. Isn't that what Jacob said?
Yeah. But I mean, but I have to say, if he throws that ball 9 times out of 10, that ball's gonna be caught.
Yeah.
It happened to be just that one time. Because if you watch, that's the same play they love to run over and over and over again.
There's no secret what the Patriots like to do, but look, I think this is the thing with that particular game. You know, the Texans this year, because they are such a good team, they've had a lot of primetime games. So let's look at their primetime matchups and how they fared. The only one that they didn't show up in was against Green Bay.
Okay, well,
all the rest of them they won.
Hold on. Again, let's go through who they played. One of them was the Jets. I mean, come on now, the Jets.
Jets, Jets.
Okay, they beat the Jets on a primetime game. Who was the other one they played in a primetime game?
They played. They also played Detroit and Chicago. Both over the primetime game.
Well, again, barely beat Chicago. almost, well, should have lost to Detroit had it not have been for. So I understand that a win is a win in the NFL.
I agree with you, but I agree with what you're saying.
If you're talking about win, in my mind, if you're talking about the great Texans, that game should have been blown out.
Which one?
All of them. If you're, I mean.
Well, look, I'm gonna say this: you still have to beat those people that are in front of you because look, Chicago is still a very good team.
Right.
Green Bay is a good team. Though the Jets, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
They're not a good team.
Right.
Detroit is actually a good team, but they just their identity. Detroit's problem is that they don't run the ball effectively.
All right. Well, let's say this real quick. They've got New England this Monday night coming up. Not tonight because this is the night of Washington Redskins. Right. Next Monday.
Right.
So out of real prime time team caliber teams, all right, we're talking about like real teams
that they played already. Or just a prime time team. Okay.
All of them, but the Jets, because the Jets was basically a warm up game or what have you for the prime time setting. You are 1-2 because you lost to. I mean, you lost to the Green Bay, or you're 2-1. I'm sorry, you're 2-1. You beat Chicago and you beat Detroit. You lost to Green Bay. So coming up to this Monday night game, because I think it's the last prime time they have.
Yep.
Are they going to beat New England?
I think they will beat New England.
Well, I don't.
I think it's going to be a close game, and I feel like they'll beat them. You think it's going to be a blowout? Or you think it's going to be a close game, and New England's going to find
I think it's going to be a close game, but I think Schaub is the reason why they're not going to win.
Okay.
Because you're talking about.
He's going to have to make a play.
Yeah, you're talking because I like New England's front on their defensive side, and I don't see Foster or Tate, for that matter, racking up 100-some yards on it. I think that it's going to have to go to the fact that Schaub's going to have to make a play, and I just don't think Schaub is that kind of a quarterback. Even though I've seen him throw the ball as much as he has, but he's thrown the ball on two different teams that are not that great.
Yeah, defense. Well, I feel like I think the key is gonna be is just like you were saying with Tate and Foster not being able to get it done. I think they'll be able to get it done in New England. And again, I think that they'll be able to win this game for two reasons. Number one is that they don't want to go back up there for the playoffs. So this game is important.
They're going to have to show Belichick some things they haven't seen.
And that's fine. If that's what you're going to have to do, then that's what you need to do. Because it's not like the thing about the Texans is that they run their play action so well, they're not hiding anything.
But here's the deal: if you are not running,
I agree,
and it
doesn't work.
And that's the reason why I think it's going to be on Schaub, because when it comes down to it, if that running game isn't doing it,
right,
I'm not sending 6 people.
Right.
I'm going to sit back and let my front four do what they've been doing all day.
Right.
I mean, if you get 6 yards, oh well, I'll still send my front four.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's what I'm saying. It's going to have to be put on Schaub.
Yeah.
And I think Schaub's the reason why they're probably going to end up losing.
Okay, so I agree. I think that they will win the game. You said they won't. So, their next matchup will be against the Indianapolis Colts at home. And this scheduling, the funny part about it is, at the beginning of the year, I'm like, why would they be putting the Colts, the lowly Colts, at the beginning of the season when they have to play them twice at the end of the year? But who would have thought that the Colts would be 8-4?
I didn't.
I sure didn't see it.
I didn't even look.
I didn't see it.
The season.
I didn't see it. But here we are right now. The Colts are 8-4, and what's important about this New England game? Let's say, because the Colts have this particular week when the Texans will be playing New England, the Colts will be playing the Titans. Now let's just say, for argument's sake, that the Texans do lose to New England. That will put them at 11-2.
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, for argument's sake, that the Colts, which I think they will win against Tennessee, they'll make them 9-4. The Colts would have a chance to win the division.
So now they've got to come into Houston,
right,
to play.
And so they have to come into Houston with a chance if they swept the end, and Houston, because here's the thing, Houston has to play the Colts twice in these last 3 games since we already covered the New England game. They have to play the Colts twice, and then they have to play Minnesota.
Yeah.
Which, look, everybody knows that all day AP, Adrian Peterson, my hometown homeboy, is going to run down their throat. And so Minnesota might have a chance to win that game. I really don't think they're going to win it. I'm just saying.
They have a shot.
They have a shot. So this game is important on another level. If the Texans beat Indianapolis here in Houston, then they could put that thing to bed. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like, because again, these games hold so much importance for the Texans. These last 4 games hold so much importance to them. I feel like they would also win this game against Indianapolis. Only because I just think that the defense, Indianapolis defense, just doesn't have enough to stop the running that the Texans have.
Disagree. They're playing for a purpose. The reason why they're 8-4 is they're playing for their head coach. They're playing for their head coach.
I know they're playing for Chuck Pagano. I understand that.
No. Let me inform you of what's been going on in Colt country.
Go ahead.
Cheerleaders are shaving their heads.
I saw that.
Because they're all rallying behind Chuck Pagano.
Right.
AB, as Bruce Arians, BA, who is a former coach for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Right.
Who coached Peyton Manning to throw, coached Ben Roethlisberger to throw,
right,
and is now coaching Andrew Luck to throw.
Right.
And he's not only teaching them, he's also the head coach as a step-in right now, as an intern.
Right.
They have too much riding on this season to allow the Texans just to basically do what they want. And as you said so many times, desperate teams are the ones you have an issue with.
That's right.
And they are desperate. They are desperate. They've turned that whole franchise from last year, from only winning 2 games. And mind you, the Texans went to Indianapolis, and they've never won in Indianapolis. And even with
they lost.
They lost in Indianapolis to a team that they should have beaten.
Right.
In Indianapolis.
Right.
With a 3rd-string quarterback at that time because Curtis Painter was out. So I mean, I'm not putting them to bed. I'm not going off and saying that they're going to beat Indianapolis.
Look, they have to look. The thing about it is with the Texans is, again, if your design, if you have designs on being the champion of the football world, you get what I'm saying? If you really have a design on being in the Super Bowl, these are the kind of games that you have to win. You need to put that to bed now. You get what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. No, I hear you.
So I
hear you.
But I feel like they'll win that game.
Okay, well let me go ahead and throw off another statistic real quick. It's the first time in franchise history they're 11. They've won 11 games.
Yeah.
When teams start getting that big head about them, crazy things happen.
That's true.
They thought they were invincible when they played Green Bay. They really did. They thought they were invincible.
Look,
they lost.
And just like I said then, and I'm saying now, that was probably the best thing that happened to them.
And so, I agree, because it shrunk them back down. They got back to reality.
Right.
But now people are putting more hype on first time in franchise history, we've got 11 wins.
Right.
First time we went to the playoffs last year. I mean, all this. Well, guess what? They're playing for a purpose, but so is the Colts.
Right. So you're saying that they'll lose? Is that what you're saying?
I am saying they'll lose.
Okay, I'm gonna say they're gonna win. What's the funny part about it? I'm saying they're gonna win, and it sounds like I'm rolling on for them to be 15-1, but that's not gonna be the case. But I think they're gonna win that game against the Colts also. And you say they're gonna lose, and then here comes Minnesota. Minnesota coming to the Texans. Look, Minnesota.
And I'm going to that game.
This guy's so lucky. But he's going to the game. He's going to that Minnesota game. And look, I think what's going to happen is Adrian Peterson is going to be Adrian Peterson. He's going to have a good game. But it's not going to be enough. But it's not going to be enough. No. Their quarterback situation is not resolved. And that kid is not the answer, just in my opinion.
I don't mind Curtis Painter too much. I mind
it's not Painter. It's not
I'm
Painter.
Sorry, I got Painter on my mind.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's Ponder.
Yeah,
I'm not really worried about Christian Ponder too much.
Right.
As in, like, if he's going to be the franchise, I'm more worried about they only have one good wide receiver.
Yeah.
And that's Percy. And so I mean,
and he hasn't been on the field,
right.
and that may be the real problem in Minnesota is they don't have enough weapons.
Because here it is, if I know
them.
you're going to run, I'll man on the outside,
right,
and leave one free safety or strong safety over the top to where no one beats me.
Right.
I'm sending everybody else.
Right.
And allowing a QB to find a wide receiver.
And the killing part about it is, with Ponder is, I watched their game this past weekend, and look, because everybody plays Minnesota the same, they try to put all these men in the box to try to stop Adrian Peterson. The dude had some options in the game. He just couldn't get the ball to the open receiver.
Right.
So and that game was close. They had an opportunity to win that game.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I don't know if Christian Ponder isn't the answer, but I think what's going to happen is that he's going to be the reason that they lose the game.
Right.
I think he's going to be one of those batted balls or an interception. Pick six, something like that is going to happen.
I agree. I agree.
Yeah.
But I think AB is going to be himself. He's going to run the ball. He's going to do everything he possibly can to try to win.
Right.
And again, they're also playing for a playoff spot too.
Right. Exactly.
So I mean, having said that, things could change a little different.
And that's the thing about the Texans and the Texans in their last 4 games as opposed to Indianapolis.
Everybody's
playing for something.
Right. It's not someone just sitting back going, well, we're not going. We may show up. We may not. We're all trying to get something. And therein lies the issue on why I feel like that Indianapolis and that New England game is so important for them to win, because the last opponent that they have is they'll be playing Indianapolis again at the end of the season. And look, if my prediction holds true, look, Indianapolis is gonna win that game because they'll be resting the stars. Yeah.
So if my prediction holds true, now if Jimmy's prediction holds true, man, that's gonna be a battle royale.
I don't think they're resting any starters, regardless. Yeah. Because you're not only playing against the Indianapolis Colts, you're also playing against the rest of the AFC division. You're trying to get a bye. You're trying to get home field advantage.
Well, they'll have that bye, and I think
but you're really trying to get that home field.
Look, the only problem that I see with the Texans, if what I say holds true, will be against the New England Patriots, because I think the Patriots are also. Let me make sure I'm correct in this.
I think they're 1 game behind them.
They're 9-3.
Okay.
So they're actually 2 games behind. So, but the Patriots, I think the Patriots are 9-3. The not Minnesota. I'm sorry. Baltimore Ravens are also 9-3.
Yeah.
So look, you have to lose 2 more games in order for those teams to.
And you're playing one of those teams.
On you. Exactly.
And you're playing one of those. So here's the deal: after you play that one team, if you lose to the New England, and you've got to play Indianapolis, and let's hypothetically say you do beat Indianapolis, but then you turn around and lay an egg, which I don't think will happen, to Minnesota.
Right. That game becomes that much more important.
That last game because now you've got to make that call. Do we want to go on the road?
Right. And you don't. So that's what I'm saying. That's why that's why I feel like they'll win those first 2 games. Actually, those 3 games, because I think that they'll have enough to beat Minnesota. And again, I think it's going to fall on the shoulders of Christian Ponder, kind of like you feel like it's going to fall on the shoulders of Matt Schaub on why they won't win
against New England.
So kudos to the Texans for number 1 clinching a playoff spot already.
Right.
But the work is there's still a lot of work to be done
to clinch the division.
Clinch the division and bring home field throughout.
They have not clinched the division.
Exactly.
They've got a playoff.
They have the playoff clinch, but they have not clinched the division. So that's why these next 2 games against these next 2 opponents is that much more. That's so important for the Texans. Okay, guys. Thanks for stopping by again, and thanks for watching. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them at the bottom. And check us out on Facebook
at Couch Coaching 12.
All right, thanks for stopping by, and peace.